Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening podcast, and today is an episode number 49. In today's episode, we are going to talk about this pain, this unbearable pain that we have once we are in a separation with our twin flame, and we had no idea that this is going to come. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about myself, the journey of how it happened to me, and I will tell you why this pain is there, and I will also tell you what will help and things you should know about this pain. Pain is a key, is a very important part of that journey. I know many of us, when we first came into this twin flame journey, when we first met our twin flame, we had no idea that one day they disappear and they trigger this enormous pain where we can't sleep, where we can't eat, where we can't think, where we cannot no longer know who we are. We feel extremely empty inside. And we wonder if it's ever going to stop. So today I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to say that it's most probably going to trigger you a little bit, because there are some answers that you don't like and some solutions that you disagree with, or maybe something that will touch your heart and make you emotional today. So take one deep breath and come on a journey with me. I know those of you who've been here before and noticed that there hasn't been an episode coming out for some time. I apologize for that. As we went through the 1111 portal, it was intense, and the moment I went through that, there was such a big shift that it has taken me some days to realize what just happened. I like calling these portals is like a rebirth in that terms, that you're going through the portal and the first 2-3 days, the light, the noise, the ideas, your soul connection is different than ever before. It's the same like when you're coming into this world as a baby and you open your eyes first time, everything is too bright, too noisy, too intense. You're very sensitive, everything. And for me, this portal was definitely one of those where I felt when I started recording an episode that I don't know if I want to talk about this. I don't know if this is going to be helpful. So there was a lot of confusion and I didn't know what is the right thing, because obviously I received so many downloads. I received so much more information that it made me to question certain things. But this is when we're going to talk about it in the future. So if you like my content, if you like my podcast, if you like what I'm doing, then please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps my channel enormously. Also, right before we're going to talk about this pain and get a little emotional, at the end of the episode, I have some absolutely amazing news that I've been working on, and now it's launched. So those who are a little bit impatient can already check out the website and see that what is happening over there. And I will also talk about the channeling. What is a soul channeling? I received an amazing email, which I think reflects very well what is the soul channeling. I know many of you have asked me on Instagram about it, share about the channeling, what it is exactly, what it does, because on my website you can see there is a soul channeling and consultation offer. I just want to say that, because one of the things is my podcast is here not to sell anything. I try to keep it as, non-commercial as possible. My aim is not that. My aim is to bring you an information and tools that can help you. But I will share that email at the end of the podcast where my client wrote me back, my beautiful soul wrote me back what happened to her, and I will bring some clarification for those who've been wondering, what is this soul channeling? Anyways, let's dive into the pain today. I know that many of you who have had calls with me or are on the group calls and have seen me on Patreon, you can see me. Who is this voice behind that podcast? And you see me smiling there, and you see me alive. I did another day. In some reasons, like I said, I always say, keep the journal of your bad days. Record yourself, put it down there. Because I did that. I have videos, and I'm planning to put a very personal story of mine, which I've never shared because it was so painful. It was that painful that I really thought I'm never going to come out of it. I woke up just for the sense of waking up. I did things because I had to do things, but I didn't feel anything. And I have these videos and these moments with me, which I'm thinking to put together for you to understand that I understand your pain. I went through such a strong spiritual awakening because of the twin flame encounter. Back then, I didn't know that. I didn't know that any of this is coming. I remember the day I met my twin flame, and it was, in that terms, he was the one who obviously started to talk to me, share information with me, and so on and so on. I didn't think much of it. But the moment we had that first encounter, more than a minute, or actually more than 30 seconds, I felt that electricity, and I no longer understood what happened. I had no idea. And also I had no idea that there's going to be a separation and there's going to be the pain. I want to talk about this pain in many aspects. One of the things is that this pain will not go away if we do not align with our soul and let go of what no longer serves us. This pain will stay there for a long time if we don't start talking to this pain today. I want to say that we think that in that terms that there are like painkillers for it, because this will really make us go crazy. I want to also say another thing. Twin flame journey, meeting your twin flame, means that you met your soul and now it is your spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is not what people think of. It's not like walk in the park and everything is beautiful and butterflies are around you and you feel like amazing. No, you feel the worst of the worst of the worst. But it's all for good, where we're going to get to. But I want to talk about that pain. I just want to really make it to understand that this pain what you have inside of you, and now you don't like that. I know you will not like that. It's not caused because of your twin flame. Your twin flame did not hurt you. It's your soul that has been holding on to emotions, feelings, and things that no longer should be there. Your limiting beliefs, your way of seeing yourself, and more and more and more. I know that many of you, because when we first meet our twin flames actually tell us everything about us, who we are. They tell us the words that we think, oh, that's not true. I don't think I am this. No, maybe I don't feel comfortable. This is not true. Like for me was when my twin flame said to me 3 things. Number 1, of course, he said my eyes. He said I had the most intense eyes you've ever seen in a life. And he said, like, I don't know what it is about your eyes. Of course, he had no idea. Neither did I. I mean, my eyes are blue and I'm aware that my eyes can trigger for some people, like they can become a little uncomfortable about it because they're intense. But he saw something else in my eyes. He saw my soul. The second thing he told me was my voice. He said, I love listening to your voice. It's like when I'm listening, when you speak English, it gives me a sense of peace. I don't know what it is, but it's so beautiful. Obviously, that was something I disagreed with because I was like, I make mistakes. I'm not fluent. I don't know what you're talking about. And the third thing he mentioned was like, you should not work as hard as you do. It's not your job to work as hard. I've spoken about this before, and many of you don't know, but I was an absolute workaholic. I don't think until today, I started my entrepreneurship when I was 19, and so today I'm 33, and I have not taken a day off. I've never been on a day where I don't work. And I think that says a lot about me, until I met my twin flame, of course. So I want to also say that twin flame journeys are a little bit different. Many of you can meet your twin flame in younger age and you had no idea and it continues with you. Many of you can meet your twin flame online and you actually can never even have a physical contact. These things are real. I've spoken to so many of you that has given me a perspective that this journey is not so black and white, and that's why the solutions are not so black and white. Because when you become your higher self, you know the solution for yourself. But when you rely on anybody else to take away your pain, this pain will never disappear. But why did I talk about what your twin flame tells you? Here is exactly the fact. Your twin flame saw something inside of you that is about to now come. But I'm just bringing a very general example, it's just simple. For example, your twin flame told you that you have absolutely, let's say, you're painting super well, like you have an absolute talent of painting or going within, of doing these things, or the way you connect with nature, or the way you connect with animals. And your twin flame told you that, wow, this is something I've never seen before, it's beautiful. But you're working, for example, in another job, you're doing something else. And you know that you're not supposed to be there, but it pays your bills and it makes you feel human in that terms, that your bills are paid, your life goes on. But when you come across with your twin flame, this separation starts triggering that, what he told you about. When he told you that, let's say, I had another day a call with a woman who said that the twin flame said she's sensual, or your twin flame says the same, like with me, let's say their voice is beautiful, or your twin flame says that what you're doing, what you're creating is amazing, or the way you're explaining certain things, or the way you see the world, and so on and so on. I'm sure you had a conversation with your twin flame. And this is now starts to come. This podcast here would have never, ever happened. I can tell you 100%. And it's not because I had insecurities because of my accent or making mistakes. It was just, I was like, I don't see the magic over there. I don't see that. But he did. And he opened up a completely another world for me. So we have to listen what our twin flame says to us. And now we're coming to that pain. Separation is extremely important part of this twin flame journey. Without the separation, you are not on a twin flame journey. So if you are right now missing your twin flame, feeling absolutely empty inside, you feel like so disconnected. If you happen to be married and you cannot connect with your husband or your wife, you can't connect with your children. You're looking at them playing, you're trying to play with them, but you just simply cannot. You're somewhere else. You go in front of the mirror and you see that person there, but you don't know that person. Like the soul has left from there, and the new soul is not yet there. Everything you hear, everything you see either makes you cry or makes you feel pain. Pain that you've never experienced in your life. And you don't know where that pain comes from. And then you have these obsessive thoughts about your twin flame. Is he ever gonna come back? Why did he live like this, or she? Am I going to be forever alone? Was that just something I made up? Why I can't move on? Why it is there all the time? Many of you, like I said before, obviously now seeing me very differently. And that's why I'm about to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But you also need to sit down with this pain. Dark night of the soul, in that terms, is not one night. For me, it was, I think, up and down. We would start from, because the first when your twin flame disappears, you think it's maybe a month or two, and then they come back. And so the trigger starts about second month or third month, where you're feeling that you want to cry all the time. You feel like, oh my God, this is madness. I don't want to be on it. I don't want to do this. Why is it happening? And you're angry also in your twin flame. You're like, why the heck is it happening to me? I didn't choose this. I don't want this. My twin flame is a complete madness. And why am I on this journey? I know, I've been there. I tried to deny every of this. I said it's gonna stop. No matter, it's gonna stop. No. So I can say that my dark night of the soul was in total June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 9 months, 10 months. I would say actually a year. It was with up and down, but it was very intense. So if many of you are thinking they're 2 months in a separation with their twin flame and they cannot handle it, then I am about to say to you, welcome to the journey. Brace yourself and now take one day at a time. It is going to be intense. And here is some of the advice I'm going to tell you. Number 1, you need to cry. You need to let out of that pain from you. Because crying is one of the ways we purify. When we cry, try to stay on that moment. Meditate on this time, put meditation music, go within and purify. I would say like some shamanic musics are super powerful. I tried to put them on my Patreon, some of the steps, those who are my Patreon members. You can see that what I'm recommending to listen, and I will put up also a meditation that you can listen while you are feeling that pain that you need to, like it's purging out of you. You need to take a moment from that. It's very, very important. You can't run away from pain. Pain will not go away of going and watching on WhatsApp if your twin flame is there. The pain will not go away even if you reach out to your twin flame and you tell to your twin flame the way you feel. The pain is your indicator, the key of realizing you need to let go of something. Your emotional pain is the same like a physical pain, which means that, for example, if our back starts to hurt a little bit, but we don't pay attention why our back is hurting, eventually it will become bigger. And then to heal that will take longer time. Same is with our emotional energy. I want to really say that everything is energy. Everything. And this is something I know it's too hard to hear today. I know it's too hard to realize that this is a spiritual awakening journey. I'm not saying that you cannot be with your twin flame. I'm not saying this at all. I already have a couple of twin flames who are united and they are working together. But it is a spiritual path. And things that will help you here is exactly crying. When you feel like crying, I said I will put out a very emotional and deep meditation on Patreon that is free for my Patreon members, that you can listen anytime you feel like I need to get this out of me. Another thing is start writing down the journal. Write down these days when things were hard, because you need to let go of it. You can't just think that it's gonna go away. And I know I didn't write in the beginning as well, because it was hard to put down exactly what I'm feeling. Because I was this strong, independent woman who handles everything by herself and who was not showing emotions. I could cry in the corner, but then if I come in front of you, I would smile and I'd be happy. This journey taught me that being weak is actually the strength. It's the strength of me to let go of that no longer needs to be in there. The third thing is, and that's what I open it up, having a talk with someone. The only thing is that twin flame journey is so intense, and we haven't got there yet with our science and so on, to explain what is happening inside of us exactly on that moment. I believe it's very close to the spiritual awakening, but it comes deeply from the heart. Like your heart is being wrapped apart, like it's open, and it's so vulnerable. You feel like it's like you're like dead, but his heart is open and it feels everything. It feels every emotion. It feels every moment. And at the same time, you don't want to feel any of it. But you need to feel that. My number one thing is you can't run away from that pain. The pain is your best friend at the moment. So the more we're going to ignore the pain, the longer the separation is going to be. And you can call me crazy here or not, but that's the truth. I wrote on my twin flame on the week of when it was 11/11 portal that falling in love with you was the most painful, beautiful, and confusing thing that has ever happened to me. His response to me was, I never wanted to hurt you and I had no idea. Why didn't you tell? I wish I would have known. And then I started going back on the conversations I had, because when I did the twin flame detox, I deleted many of these messages. So I don't have the whole conversation. And I started looking back and I realized how much I was replying from my ego and never from my heart. Because every time I received a message, I started thinking, what should I say and how should I say? Instead of replying from my heart how I really want to say. And the person who was replying there was very protective. I was very protective towards myself. And it opened my eyes that obviously he had no idea, because I never ever said anything. I was dealing it on my own. Should you tell your twin flame that you're going through the hell? No, I don't think so. Because they cannot fix us. It's not their physical who's going to fix us. It's their energy. And their energy is doing that to fix us. Totally. Only if we would listen what the soul is telling us. And here is another thing. We don't solve this journey with an ego. We don't. The more you go into your ego thinking, my twin flame disappeared, doesn't love me. My twin flame doesn't have feelings towards me and is with somebody else, most probably loving the person, other one. I want to bring here something very personal of mine. I am married to my soulmate and I met my twin flame. I did not plan meeting my twin flame. That was not part of me thinking. Was that part of my journey? I can say yes. But I love my soulmate, my husband, dearly. I really do. is an absolutely amazing guy, even though during the time when I went through that dark night of the soul, we were very close to divorce. We were very close to separate because I was not alive. I was dead inside. All I could do is cry. I will put together on Patreon a video of me where you can see how I sit, how I see things, how I cry. And you will have maybe a different perspective of understanding me in that time. That's why I understand your pain when we are on the call. That pain was so deep that I thought I will never, ever come out of it. But there is no end. I'm going to lose everything. I can't connect with my children. I can't connect with my husband. And my twin flame doesn't love me. And why did I choose this? These were all my feelings and all my thoughts. And this extreme amount of loneliness. All I wanted to do was to be alone. And I could sit hours staring at something and not do anything. I forced myself to work. I forced myself to eat. I forced myself to sleep. I didn't sleep whatsoever. And in total it was about 9 months. It doesn't mean that my twin flame didn't come in back in that time and we didn't talk. But it was 9 months of intense time. So why I'm talking this pain so badly? Because I just feel that we try to escape the pain. We try not to validate that this pain is our tool we have to work with. This pain is giving us all the answers. But when we listen to the pain, and when we talk to the pain, and when we align with the pain, things start to fall into the place. And here's why I'm going to talk about at the end of the podcast about the channeling. So, your pain is your gift, but it's the most painful one. But if it's your true twin flame, they're helping you to go through the spiritual awakening, and that's why they are separate, because it's energetic connection. We help each other energetically. We don't help each other physically. It doesn't work like this. And why? Because if our twin flame comes back to us physically, appears physically in our life, it's like this little drug that comes to our life and makes us feel really good. We feel alive again. We feel like, wow, I'm totally in love. Everything is great, absolutely amazing. But if we haven't healed on that time, if we haven't aligned with our soul and the connection with the God or the universe, that where we know the answers, they disappear again. Physically. But energetically, they're all the time here. And you can call me crazy. I had another day a call with a beautiful woman, absolutely amazing. She's been a therapist about last 20 years, 25 years. And she's all science-based. And she believed in the beginning, her twin flame is a trauma bond, because that's how she can translate into this scientific world. And years have been by, and they know each other since the age of 16. And she's married, the twin flame is married, they have children with different spouses, and so on and so on. And now she said, I am scientific, but this connection, even though me being therapist, finding that this is a trauma bond, is something beyond that I cannot explain. Every time something happened to me, I'm not telling her personal story, every time something bad happened to her or some shift came, guess who sent a message or popped up? Her twin flame, without knowing anything what she's going through. This is an energetic connection. The more you're going to accept that love, the easier it will become. Don't think of your twin flame, oh, he doesn't love me, or he doesn't care about me, or he has no feelings towards me. That's not true. That's not true at all. If it's your true twin flame, they love you deeply. And that's what I was trying to tell you, that I am married to my soulmate and I love my husband dearly. But I also love my twin flame. But this love is very different. It's a love for my soul. It's a love of connecting with me. Every time when I go more into my masculine energy, because I have a tendency, my physical body has that tendency that I have to go to masculine, which is protective, which is the one who has to fix everything and so on. Guess who pops back to me and says immediately something that I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. You're taking care of me. And here is another thing I wanted to say, that when our twin flames starting to go through the spiritual awakening, it's not that. And when they go through spiritual awakening, it's also our job to help them, to energetically help them. But it's not we're gonna do that physically. It's energetically. Everything is energy. So when you will feel them going through that, and what you have to do during this time is to connect and say, I'm sending you lots of love, I am here, I love you. And many of us go into this ego again over there of thinking, oh, why should I do this to my twin flame? I went through the hell, it was the most painful thing ever. It is not an ego, it's nothing to do with that. Your twin flame did not hurt you on purpose. He did not hurt you on purpose. If it's your true twin flame, he did not hurt you on purpose. And that's something that is so important to remember. Your twin flame is here to trigger your spiritual awakening and energetically help you to get where you are. If it's your, some first love crush or something, whatever, it can happen that they hurt you. But at the same time, I want to say something that you don't like. I know you don't like, but I have to be honest. No one can hurt us except ourselves. Okay, now we have to leave aside for the fact that if somebody hurts us physically, if somebody manipulates with us, this is a different story and takes our weaknesses granted. I leave these two completely in a different thing. It has nothing to do with what I'm going to tell you. But what I mean is that no one can hurt us when we don't hurt ourselves, which means, let's say I'm walking on the street and I have dark hair, and somebody would call, hey, you dark-haired girl, you are not very pretty, or you're very ugly. But since I don't have the dark hair, I don't pay attention because my hair is blonde. Same is with energy. When our energy gets triggered by feeling that we're gonna lose the partner, or someone's gonna leave us alone, abandonment issues, we feel like nobody's loving us, we are not being loved, then all of these energies gonna be triggered. And that's what's gonna twin flame do for us. They're gonna trigger our deep emotions. For example, if you have never been left alone and you've always been loved, if your twin flame will disappear, you would not feel that you are not loved. You would feel something else. Because it's the energy inside of you. So I just want to say, it's not your twin flame that is hurting you on purpose and wants you to go through the hell. It's your energy that is now coming out of you and making you to feel, and you need to pay attention to that pain and that loneliness. It's so important to connect with this pain. Don't avoid that. Well, apparently in between the recording stopped, and I had a lot to say what I said in between, and now it's gone, so I don't even know where I am with myself. But maybe it was not meant to be then. I believe in that. Anyways, another thing is, I really wanted to say is, I'm going to mention one more time, I don't know if it's been mentioned on the podcast already, but we think of our twin flames don't love us, which is not true at all. At all, it's not at all true that our twin flame doesn't love us. I bring in my own example. I'm married to my soulmate, and I have my twin flame. I obviously didn't plan to have a twin flame in my life. It was not something I was thinking of or wanting. I love my soulmate, but I love my twin flame too, and I love them differently. I love them very differently. My twin flame gives me that power. So what I'm trying to tell you, that if your twin flame is married or your twin flame has a different relationship, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It's again for your ego to find a good excuse that my twin flame doesn't love me, my twin flame is somebody else, my twin flame has so on and so on. Maybe they need to experience something, and that triggers inside of you something. So please, do yourself a favor and sit down and discover what this pain is trying to tell you. Like I said, I will talk a little bit about the channeling. And I know that many can say that, but you are not in a union with your twin flame. What are you talking about? And I'm about to say that I am in union with my twin flame more than I ever been. I'm in a union with my soul, completely in a soul union. Because my divine masculine and divine feminine united inside of me. There was a lot of masculine energy inside of me before, and very little feminine energy. That's where the pain came from. I had to learn how to become weak. I had to learn how to become vulnerable. I had to learn that I can trust that everything will be okay, even if I don't do anything. And I had to trust that there is tomorrow. And all I have is right now. Again, good books to read, The Power of Now and The Alchemist. Please read these books. I'm not saying these things, I don't know, in terms of just for a joke. I'm really telling these things that you would connect with your soul, you would realize that you need to come to this moment. Before I'm going to jump into the channeling, I want to say one thing. The pain is part of the process. You cannot skip the pain. So you can try to drink, you can try to party, you can try to take painkillers, you can try to do whatever. Until you don't sit down with the pain and let go of it, it will not go out of it. Also, do not, and this is another thing, do not expect that it's going to happen overnight. That today you're going to cry and it's going to be fine. I did 9 months. I think even more. But it was about on that time when I finally had a breakthrough. And that breakthrough happened when I actually reached out for help, which was the retreat during the Shivaratri, where I had a breathwork session, and the breathwork changed everything for me. Again, I'm about to say here that many things can change. Breathwork, channeling, sound healing, yoga, and so on and so on. These things can help you. Your soul knows what it needs in order to go for the next level. But you need to align with the soul first. Once you align with your soul, your twin flame will know about it. They will feel about it because the connection is so strong there. It's not like any other 3D life relationship. I never had that with my husband in that terms that when I met and had this triggering. I had that with my twin flame. My twin flame is part of my life forever. Regardless how much I love my husband, I love my twin flame as well. And he is the one who makes me to spread the love, makes me to understand the power of love, and also helping me to guide through when I don't have the answers exactly. And I'm just going to talk about the channeling because as many of you have seen it on my website and wondering, what is this channeling? For me, channeling was one of the most profound things that happened because it gave me the clarity. Number one, when I stayed, the channeling told me, like, I was asking why people are mean and why they don't love and why they gossip and why they say mean things about others. Like, it was actually for my husband and for my mother. And the answer from the channeling came back, it's not because they want, but they don't see the world the way you do. And become humble to realize that this is your job to help them to get there. And that changed everything. It made me extremely humble of realizing that I've gone through so much. My soul has learned so much. And I can't expect that from them, but I can guide them there energetically. Not telling them what to do, but with energy. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, how it happened. And another thing is, what through channeling came to me was that, for my soul, was that, because obviously on that time I was like crazy about my twin flame and that physical connection. And then I said that, and I was like, what's going to come with that? And the message was exactly like, your job is to help your husband to go through a spiritual awakening, to help your twin flame to go through a spiritual awakening, and also allow your twin flame to have this human experience that you had, such as a family, marriage, children, all of that. And another thing that made me again so humble on that moment, I felt, oh my God, that's so true. I had it all. I have experienced it all. I can't take this away from somebody else because they're having still a human experience. But that doesn't mean I can't have that connection. And that's very profound. And talking about helping others to go through the spiritual awakening, my husband now is completely spiritually aware. He's meditating daily. He's getting up early in the mornings to meditate, meditates in the evening. He's all about spirituality, tells me how I should meditate and how I should do things. And I'm just looking and I'm like, honey, because I don't tell you, it doesn't mean that I don't meditate. I understand that in the beginning we get very excited about all of this new world. For me, it's now daily life. I meditate any moment I can. I always go within, like the first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. I'm living in my own 5D world a lot. It's just a bit weird sometimes, but I love that. I create my own reality, my own universe. In that terms, like my own galaxy or whatever we want to call it. Anyways, why I'm talking about the channeling is so powerful. Also, another thing I'm just going to say, I would recommend the channeling for those who already had their first consultation lesson, because we need to get to know if you are on the twin flame path. That is very important. Once we know that, we can do the channeling. So today I'm going to read you the letter, and I'm also going to tell you a story of another girl. It's just because I know that you can listen to me and you can think like, oh, you know, what are these things? So I had this girl writing to me. Hi, pretty soul. I hope you have been keeping well. From our last session we did the twin flame energy channeling for me and my twin. I just before I'm going to go in for that, I remember myself being extremely skeptical about all of these things, what I heard from channeling. I was like, yeah. Another great story, yeah, I don't know where that comes from, yeah. And also there was a lot of information. I was like, I don't know, doesn't make any sense. Until it made sense. So I am actually the number one who is the most skeptical about all of this spiritual thing. I am always, even though I am so spiritually connected and I don't have a proof, sometimes I'm still like, if I haven't experienced this, I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't believe that's the truth. Here's the thing, one of the things with channeling. It will tell you the soul truth. And when I do the channeling for you, I will tell you the things that maybe your ego self doesn't want to accept or doesn't want to hear or doesn't want to believe. And here's why channeling can be sometimes like, don't think so, that doesn't sound true, that doesn't this. But I read today's email just to give you an overview. It's not for me to tell you in terms of that this is the right thing and so on. It's just I want to bring an overview, what you can feel and what you can experience.
From our last session, we did twin flame energy channeling for me and my twin. As mentioned in the last update I emailed you, he had reached out to me the day after the channeling. The conversation was short, as mentioned. It just didn't feel like he was ready, but felt like he needed to almost like he needed to make sure I am still here. Again, energy channeling, in that terms, it is powerful because it triggers them to feel like, oh my God, like the energy is so intense and you are disappearing, because you will get so many answers from there. All of that week, I noticed that he coming on WhatsApp, and he never uses the WhatsApp unless he needs to. So the following Sunday, I felt the most intense energy. So much emotions, I just couldn't handle it. I cried myself to sleep, but kept having anxiety attacks and waking up shaking out of my sleep. Here's another thing you can see. These processes are normal. It's your soul who awakens, and your soul wants you to let go of the ego and to align with who you are and what you're supposed to do, and so on and so on. I went through that, and if you go through that pain, it's the same thing. Sleep was not helping, but I felt the need I had to spend time with my family, and so that's what I did. 20 minutes into being around the family, he sends me a text message. We texted back and forth. He opened up to me, and gosh, he really spoke to me. He told me things that he was holding back because he felt like I would look him differently, and I didn't understand why he would think like that. Because what he told me really sparked me, because it was like he was me. In September, he tried to say he didn't feel a connection with me, and that we don't have anything in common. But really, he got scared because he was almost like the same, like me. What he feels scares him because he hasn't felt a connection like this, or had someone make him feel so wanted. He loves it, but it overwhelms, so he pushes me away and just disappears. Without saying anything to him, he said that he feels like I was sent to him or made just for him. In the energy channeling session, you talked about money. And in the moment of the session, I didn't think that was accurate, because he's always been confident with money. But when we spoke, he didn't say directly he was struggling, but he said some things that made sense to me, what you had said regarding finance. When you spoke about jealousy and him being scared of me moving on, he also showed that side of him. You also said he needs to know, that he's big of needing to know things. And yes, he was really showing me when we spoke. And now I'm also understanding what's been missing and what is been triggering in me. Things that I never thought affected me at all, because I felt replaced the pain with the love I was already surrounded with growing up. I haven't been home for 10 years, and since I met him, I have this strong feeling that I need to go home and reconnect with my roots. I hope I made sense. Just wanted to give you an update on everything. So here is a beautiful example, and I love that email when I received that. Because when we do the energy channeling, it sounds a bit weird. I'm going into the meditative stance, you're asking certain questions, and I'm just starting to tell you the things that might not resonate at all, because you never heard that from your twin flame, or you never heard from your soul. But then the time unfolds, and everything starts to make sense. One of the things is with soul, your soul cannot lie. You simply cannot lie. I had this other girl, and she was the one who won on Patreon last time the consultation for the channeling. And we did the call. Now we didn't do the channeling. Eventually we had a longer call. And right before she won that, we had actually a channeling session. And because when you are my Patreon member, once a month I just choose one lucky winner, and she was the one. And she told me that I had that feeling I'm gonna win. Anyways, she won it, and she was on a call. All the time I had something coming up, and I had so many problems of setting up the coupon that she could directly book and so on. But luckily, she was following up with me well. Again, I want to say to you, sometimes when the calls are going over the time or things are happening, I lose time of replying. So you can always follow up with me. Do not feel bad. Message me as much as you feel and so on. Anyways, and she was the same. She told me, listen, when we did this energy channeling, I was like, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. Guess who showed up after 6 months of not talking to her whatsoever and calling her? And during the channeling, we were talking about how do you want him to reach out to you? And here is the one thing. You can't take that from the ego perspective. You really need to manifest. You really need to feel that you're connecting with a soul and how he's going to reach out. She said, calling me. Guess who 6 months later called her? Her twin flame. And meanwhile, she also did certain things such as natal chart and feminine energy balancing and all of these things. I wanted to say that, and also their conversation was more spiritual than ever before. She was blown away. She couldn't believe that. And why I'm talking about it? When we're listening to tarot or somebody will tell us, I will do this thing and I will get your twin flame coming back to you. I'm not saying they're lying, or I'm not saying that it's not happening. Just based on my own experience, once you start taking the steps that are important for your soul, that your soul is calling you to do, I don't know what it is, but when you're listening to your soul tells you, feed me with this herb medicine, feed me with this music, feed me with this retreat, feed me with this sound healing, with this yoga, feed me. Then you have to do that. You can't sit there paying money for tarot, paying money for somebody else to bring your twin flame back. But your twin flame again comes back when you let go of the pain and fear that your twin flame is never returning. As long as you have the fear, the pain continues and the cycle continues. I tell you that. Anyways, these were just a few things I really wanted to put today together because I felt like I always talk about it, but I never really have a good example. And I had another, I think on my last YouTube video also, another woman I did energy channeling. She was blown away as well. I am saying that energy channeling is the best when we had the first consultation call in prior, that we know if it's your true twin flame. And that's what we're going to discover on the first consultation call. And I also want to say that for our soul and energy to balance, it takes about 21 days. 14 to 21 days. So once we have a call, the next 21 days are going to be intense. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about all of that. And I'm still going to say certain things that might be helpful for you. And I've been trying to put together everything. Number one, this Sunday we have another group call on Patreon. Those who are my Patreon members, the links are in bio. It's a free call for you. We meet up at New York time, 12 o'clock, and Central European time at 6 o'clock. It happens at 19th of November, so it's 2 hours, and you can join whenever you wish. You can share your story, you can ask questions, and so on and so on. I'm hoping that by the time I will have enough time to test that we can start doing exercises all together that will help your pain to dissolve. Last time we did the breath work. The videos will be up on the Patreon. You can watch, you can redo it, and so on. Anyways, if you support this channel on Patreon, that helps me a lot because I can put out so much free content, and the Patreon is $5.99 a month. And how do I say, the more support I have, the more I can put content for free there, and I think everybody's gonna win from it. Because my main aim is to make sure that you will align with your soul, that you listen what your soul tells you, because this is the key of your life. And next thing is, and also this Sunday, if you are my paid Patreon member, one lucky winner will again win this channeling session for $150. So being a Patreon, also you have a chance that once a month, one lucky winner has a chance to have a call with me for $150, which is worth of $150. And I now have a big announcement. The first Twin Flame retreat has been announced, and it's on the website now, and that will happen on the 7th, 8th, and 9th and 10th of March 2024. On the 8th of March, we have a Shivaratri. It's a time where Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine are uniting, and we will have a beautiful ceremony for that. That is going to be so powerful that hopefully all of you who can come will feel the shift. This retreat is only for 10 people. I try to keep it small and intimate. All of the information is on the website. There are payment options. There are so many things. And I also know that some of the beautiful souls wanted to contribute into coming at me and do certain things with their music, with editing. I'm looking forward to hear from you. That's it. So many things are happening now with the 11 portal. I hope you are doing fine. I hope this pain got a little bit dissolved. I'm putting out also on Patreon a pain meditation that helps you to breathe when things are getting really hard. And yeah, I love you so much, and thank you so much for coming over here. Your like, subscribe, your comment always means the world to me. And until next time, bye. Lots of love and light.
I'll never do it like you do. And I know I'll grow in a whole supposed to be. But self-doubt comes easy, and I've tried almost everything, but it just hasn't worked yet. I try not to envy you, to get angry you do it better than me. I try not to hate myself, to lose confidence, but you always do it better than me. I just wanna be loved like you. I just want them to see me too. Just wanna be the one they choose. Yeah, I just wanna be loved. Ooh, I hate comparison, cause it makes me feel lesser than striving for perfection, thinking somebody will see me then. No, don't get me wrong, really want everybody to succeed, but can we start with me? Like, why was it her and not me? Why was it her and not me? Wish someone could redesign me, to not have the style to find me. Why was it her and not me?